Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Sreeja Roy. I'm an associate professor in Amrita Research Center, Delhi NCR, in short ARCD. You're listening to the first episode of BioCharcha at ARCD, and I'm delighted to introduce Dr. Dinda here, who is research director at ARCD. Although a little bit of introduction about myself is I work on cancer immunotherapeutics with a special emphasis on developing novel therapies. And Dr. Dinda here also was associated as emeritus professor in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. And under his guidance, we have also launched 3 new MSc courses. One is Translational Medicine, which is ongoing. Second is Molecular and Clinical Diagnostics. And also we have an MSc in Cell Therapies. We are going to summarize some of these important aspects of these courses which students can learn from and decide, what it can help them in, and also how this can help them in having impactful careers in the field of biotechnology. So to start with, I would like to know if you can tell our students and listeners what about ARCD and especially Faridabad campus, and what is the vision and mission of the establishment of ARCD, and how does it contribute academically within Amrita?
Yeah, Amrita Research Center, Delhi NCR, which actually we coined the term as ARCD, it's part of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. Now, this university particularly has a very different kind of mission and vision, and obviously very advanced the course technology development, research infrastructure development, along with the academic career, so that we can generate the lot of the highly specialized human resources who can take part in the newer generations of research and technology development as well as innovation ecosystem. Now, with that, the Amrita Research Center Delhi has been established in the Faridabad campus of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. Now, this campus is almost 130-acre campus where the major the infrastructure which is here is the Amrita Hospital, which is 2,600 bedded multi-speciality hospital, along with the Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, which is also a leading medical science institute. And these two are closely connected with the Amrita Research Center Delhi. So that means our research center is specifically established to have a total translational research focus. I'll explain what we mean by translational research focus. So you have a lot of issues and a lot of problems which we face in our day-to-day healthcare. Particularly if you see the almost 95%, more than 95% of the different kind of the interventions we use, they are all imported or dependent on imported technology. Now, that's why they are very, very costly, many of them, and unaffordable. Now, the major challenge is that whether we can produce these kind of intervention technology in India. But to do that, obviously, we have to have create that kind of ecosystem, which is a combination of academics as well as research capability development. And this complex challenge is actually taken up by the ARCD at Faridabad campus.
That's beautifully summarizing the mission and vision as well as how we are contributing academically within Amrita. So, as you mentioned, some of these courses are actually not very common. It's not conventional courses. So, for the benefit of students, can you tell us how is it different from traditional MSc in biotechnology, for example, taught in other colleges?
Yeah, so to give little bit of background of Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, if you look into it, this is a very huge university. Though in North India its presence is new, but it has got 10 campuses across India in different cities. And south there are many campuses, but in north, in addition to Faridabad campus, new campus is coming up in Haridwar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this campus, when we thought that as it is related to a healthcare campus, so whether we can focus into some of the courses which will have a direct the healthcare implication. Now, to introduce that biotechnology, all of you know, I mean, a lot of courses are there in biotechnology, but those graduates which are coming out of biotechnology, if you realize that they are not fit to be really, really taken up by any of these newer generation of industries which are coming up, we tell them that these are biotechnology based healthcare product industry. Now, I'll give you example. I mean, what do you mean by biotechnology-based healthcare? Many of you already have heard about, say, nanotechnology, nanomedicine. Nanotechnology, when we use in bio, in healthcare, in nanobiotechnology, the term we use, but when we use for health, we use the term nanomedicine. Now, these, if you see, these are deviation from the biotechnology where newer introduction and realization of these courses can be introduced. So, similarly, there are a lot of areas like regenerative medicine. This is also based on the cell based technology development, and so part of the biotechnology. So, we thought that let us focus empowering the life sciences students who can enter into a larger sphere where we are focusing in next generation of healthcare intervention, which we are conglomerating together with the terminology of biotechnology based healthcare. Now, to develop a new healthcare or new intervention, as I have told all you in the earlier, we need to develop that kind of capacity. So, the biotechnology or any life science graduate who is coming out from their undergraduate course, they don't have any idea. I mean, these are all theoretical words which I have told. So, whether we can really train them in such a way, then they can be really asset in developing the next generation of biotechnology advancement in India. So, for that, we introduced 3 courses. The first course is MSc in Translational Medicine. Now, translational word may be pretty new for many of the undergraduate students, but translation means if you have a particular idea and then related to solving certain problem. So in healthcare, there are a lot of problems we face. So we can think of certain solutions. Now, if you have a solution, then how you work out that solution to make certain intervention or product which can be used for treatment or management of the patient. Now, from the idea, then proof of concept of that idea, and then validation of that idea, whether it is a possibility to make it into a product which can be further, it has to be produced in mass scale, then it has to be marketed, and then it has to be liked by the doctors, and it should be safe for the patient. So you have to realize there are so many domains and you have to cross. And in fact, a biotechnology or any life science students, they can be trained in that whole pathway. I'm not saying that one person has to do the whole thing, but one person can focus in, say, proof of the concept model development. So he can develop certain in vitro ex vivo model. So that's also has got a lot of the demand in the industry, particularly screening of new molecules, screening of a lot of herbal products, and a lot of other biopharmaceuticals which are coming up. Some of them can be trained to produce the mass scale production of antibody, which is also used in therapy. Some can pick up how to produce vaccine, and so that is also a different kind of technology. These are all based on biological application or biological enhancement of technology development. So I feel as the input area may be very broad, a person coming from, say, MSc in the biochemistry or microbiology or any life sciences area can be trained, including, I have a feeling that even the some other branches, including the biotechnology, even BTech also they can apply, I feel. And then I think in the post graduation we will train them, focus to train them in these areas. So that is the translational medicine I told. But then I realize, or we realize rather, that there are very specialized product line development. Say, for example, cell therapy. Now we have obviously a course we are introducing this year, MSc in cell therapy. Now, cell therapy means the stem cell therapy. I think many of you have heard already, and many of our undergraduate students already know. Here, in the body, particularly when we age or due to certain disease, there is damage of the organ. Now, total organ replacement is not necessary nowadays. So, it is possible that we can actually introduce some of these treated cells or engineered cell into the body, and they can actually replace or these diseased cells or diseased organ. So, that is the age old stem cell therapy. Then there are cell based, cell derived products also which are coming into the market, particularly exosome or extracellular vesicle based therapy. Now, the last part, which is very recent introduction, is cell and gene therapy. That means you can take the cell from a diseased person, and then so disease cell can be disease gene can be replaced by the normal gene, and you can introduce the cell inside again the same person's body, and that can do a lot of functions. So these kind of therapy is used for cancer treatment, in hereditary disease treatment. So this is a huge upcoming field where I think this industry, if they want to develop the clinics, if they want to introduce this kind of therapy, they will get manpower. So they need specialized trained people to help them. So that's why we thought that for the cell therapy, we can have a specialized course where in the curriculum we will have the stem cell based, the research, stem cell, the propagation, proliferation, and as well as the cell and gene therapy, how it is to be produced. So those will be in the part of the course. Right. And the third course which we have introduced now, the advanced molecular and clinical diagnostics. You have to realize that many of you have already, I think, seen the different kind of advertisement. Particularly, a lot of PG students already know that a lot of these sequencing technologies are there, which can analyze a person's gene and then predict whether the disease and prediction of the disease. In cancer, particularly, these kind of gene panel studies are very important. Inborn error of metabolism, sometimes a newborn having a disease where it can be diagnosed by this sequencing technology. Now, these are very, very specialized technology. Now, there are a lot many labs which are coming up, and then also there are a lot of industries which are now looking into precision medicine. They need these kind of people who are trained in sequencing technology, optimization, their interpretation, their analysis. So we thought it's a very, very high demand area, and so the third course is focused on that.
Thank you, sir. So that beautifully summarizes that for our students, especially in India, especially being in development of immunotherapeutics. I totally appreciate what you are saying in terms of not just theory, because as I understand that in India there is a lot of theoretical biotechnology being taught, but not a lot of practical aspects. So I think students will be very well geared for that. But also, similar to what you just said, like not only these courses are unique, but also they are relatively higher in price, so they are like little bit more on the expensive. So also, can you explain like how do you say, like how does it, like what sort of what constitutes these courses that make it on a little bit on the more relatively expensive side, again for students to make better choices, uniqueness
These
and
courses, exactly.
higher cost of these courses.
I think in this context, I must mention very recently the government of India, with the leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji, has introduced the concept of Bio E3. Now, this is basically the India after a very successful IT industry where it has become a global power. Now, government is focusing on biotechnology, and it is predicted or government plan to make India a $1 trillion biotechnology based economy in next 5 years. To do that, so we need to have, I think the bio E3 policy has been introduced. Biotechnology E3 means which will generate the economy, environment, and employment. Now, To generate the economy, we need to have employment as well as we have to have environmental protections also. Now, these are all biotechnology based. So that means, as I have already my introduction, I have told that there are several areas where biotechnology can be used for healthcare. So these are the major areas of expansion. And in fact, there's a huge amount of funding government has placed for the industry as well as the different research institute as well as the private consortium where this kind of capacity building will be done in next 5 years or next year, the few years. So for that, then we need very specialized kind of trained who will be trained from the basic biotechnology for these advanced courses to make these human resources. So that's why exactly in ARCD we focused on that. In fact, that's why we are more advanced than the usual universities who are providing a lot of these regular courses. We thought that let us try to focus in such a way the human resource, the students who will be passing out from us, they will be highly sought after from these new areas of biotechnology application expansion as a part of the bio E3 policy. I'll give you an example. Now government is very much focusing on biomanufacturing. Now, in a biomanufacturing, if you realize in biotechnology based health product, say for example, mRNA vaccine development, see the exosome or extracellular vesicle based therapy biomanufacturing, they will be needing the not only the just basic scientists, they'll be needing highly trained the people who have a very core biotechnology training, but at the same time handle these advanced technologies also. Drug development. So that's why, and in comparison to, if you see the application, innumerable application of these biotechnology, we can have the ex vivo system expert who can develop the different kind of organoid. That organoid has high demand in biopharma industry for different kind of screening. I'll give you also another example. Currently we are trying to replace the animal model by ex vivo model. In the ex vivo models are basically different kind of cellular model integrated with different kind of biosensors. Now, so those kind of technology and understanding which has got a high potential being used, we are importing many of the system and our industry are using it. But then if we develop this kind of infrastructure and this kind of thing here in India, there is a lot of scope for indigenous capacity building, and our student, I'm sure, will be able to take up these kind of the very very early career expansion opportunity. Sir, so as you said that, even general basic BSc students can also take up this. They don't need to have a specific prerequisite to take up these MSc courses. But are these also part-time or distance learning approaches are also available for students who are interested in these courses? No, the challenge is that, as we told you, that we are very focused to develop the next generation of human resources optimized for the advanced biotechnology application development. They can undertake research, but I think our major focus is to produce these kind of technology experts who can join industry which are expanding very fast. And said so, we in the course curriculum we have designed like that. So first year, that is 2 semester, there will be extensive theoretical and also practical training to understand the area of subject. But the second year, the whole year, we will be putting them in the research and core areas of learning things, including internship if it is needed. So that means this is a very intensive kind of course, because as you realize, each of these are highly specialized areas. Yes. So currently we are introducing only full-time courses. Yes. But I think in future the small modules can go for online. Say for example, regulatory affairs, regulatory the science and focused regulatory or ethical kind of training courses we can do. So those can be done, I think, online. And I think we have in future we have a plan to also start some of the diploma which may be shorter for 1 year, and then and beyond that very specialized area we can have also, say, certificate courses which may be shorter duration, 3 to 6 months, which are not so practical, which are not so wet lab heavy. Yeah. So as you mentioned projects, so what could be like some typical MSc projects that students can maybe envisage doing as MSc students enrolled in some of these courses? Yeah, so you have to realize that as we are talking about the developing the next generation of advanced biotechnology based healthcare modality development. So if you look into that, I think I'll give you a few examples. Say for example, suppose we talk about that we develop the different kind of cellular models. In the cellular model, say if you suppose we want to do say development of organoid. Organoids are basically three-dimensional conglomeration of cells. Now, many of these students know, particularly who has done zoology or related area, cell can be cultured in a monolayer, which is very common and usually we do. But in monolayer culture, it's very difficult to produce a lot of these the data which need cell-to-cell communication. So that can happen only in case of organoid. Similarly, in case of say cancer research, particularly these kind of three-dimensional model may be helpful, so that can be a very interesting project. Development of and then models. Yeah. We have a lot of scope to do biomarker research. Yes, we are talking about the DNA based research. So can we use these very small amount of specific DNA fragment or gene detection or marker as a biomarker of a particular disease or infection? We can use these kind of disease diagnosis, infectious diagnosis. So right, these can be basically these can be a small the research project which has got direct translational focus. Yeah. And so trained in this way, they can be asset to picked up by these industry as well as R&D organization, and they can use them. Sir, that's great. We want to also know in terms of employability. So, does Amrita have like tie-ups with industry to, for students to understand what sort of impact they'll have in careers and what sort of careers they are looking for after these courses? So, I think Amrita already we send our the students like Kochi has initiated some of these program like molecular medicine MSc quite early, and in fact, they are sending their students to different huge biopharma consortium, say Thermo Fisher, and some of these similar kind of industries. So we have a plan, in fact, to introduce their to many of the industry. But you have to realize that we are starting this course, so two of these courses, that is MSc in cell therapy and MSc in advanced clinical and molecular diagnostics, will be starting from this year. So obviously we will try to actually expose them to different industry, and I'm pretty sure that because of our training, our advanced infrastructure, and very nicely designed course will attract their employment in many of the interested right, university industries. So, what kind of biotechnology and healthcare based solutions is ARCD focusing on through these courses? Yeah, so I think let me tell you some of the program which already we have initiated. I think in a broad, I can tell you the biomarker research. Now, maybe many of the undergraduate students don't understand what I'm meaning about biomarker research. For a particular disease, we order some of the investigations to be done. Say, for example, if we suspect there is a liver disease, we ask for the enzymes for the liver, like SGOT, SGPT, certain enzymes are there. And even the serum albumin, which is mainly produced by the liver, we like to see that their level. So these are basically the biomarker of hepatocellular dysfunction. Now we are going beyond that. Now there are many of these new generation of biomarkers which are coming up. They may be an enzyme, they may be some decoy protein, or they may be RNA, they may be DNA, like that. So these new generation of biomarker, it's need to be explored, and they have to be actually understood that how they can be detected. So in that, I'll give you example. Say for example, you have an infection. So normally we take the blood in a systemic. If we suspect there is a septicemia, and then send the blood to the microbiology lab for culture. And then when the bacteria grow, infective organism grows, and they can diagnose and tell you that this is the infection. But then if the number of bacteria is very low, many a times they cannot be cultured. Say particularly very important for say neonates, say small babies, you cannot draw blood from their vein. So we can get say couple of drops, few drops of blood by their puncture of the heel, or maybe ear lobe puncture. But then they cannot be, many a times they fail to generate the culture or expansion of these bacteria. So in that case, we can use say the advanced PCR system like droplet digital PCR. And in our ARCD, we have got these systems, so we can try to find out whether even the 2 or 3 copy, even single copy of this bacterial DNA or viral DNA can be detected by this advanced technology. So that's why that is biomarker research is one of the major focus. It can be for infection, it can be for cancer, it can be for any other inherited genetic disease. It can be also related to lifestyle diseases. We can also look the epigenomic interaction, where we can explore the particular person whether it's prone to develop certain kind of disease like diabetes. So these are the focus area of research we have initiated. That is one. Second is that we are also initiated the cell and gene therapy track, and where we will be we have a plan to produce the different kind of the viral vector induced the gene transfection, and these kind of therapy can be used for cancer and also non-cancerous hematological diseases like sickle cell disease, thalassemia, and so on. So that is another important track. Third track which we have is immunotherapeutics, precisely the area which you are also working. And we have, I think I forgot to mention, also in small animal facility. Future it will be added by large animal facility. So there will be a lot of these the preclinical validation assay also will be developed by us. And so that is an important area we are focusing on working. And apart from that, we are also in the work of say mRNA vaccine, personalized vaccine development, and as well as the genome core infrastructure or multi-omic facility development. So these are already focused in our ARCD.
So if you quickly summarize, like we have a very practical based, healthcare oriented, and therapy solutions oriented courses that students can take and obviously find, and as you mentioned, capacity building. So capacity building will be tailored towards creating like a human force that will be catered to provide actual solutions, not only in basic research but also in healthcare. So, final question. We would like to know, now that you've given us in bits and pieces, like lots of understanding, lots of details about each of these MSc courses, but how about like the actual course design and what's the content of the courses? If you can say that a little bit, sir.
Yeah, so the start briefly. So for translational medicine, I think we have got 2 semesters of theory and practical. In the first semester, we usually give them introduction of what is the meaning of translation, and we'll give them example that how certain the basic innovation or the discovery has been transformed into certain kind of product development. And so that is number one. And then in the next, I think we entered into that area, the different processes or the study design which is needed to do proof of the concept.
Right.
So there we train that what are the different models. So you have in vitro model development, then we have got ex vivo model development, then we have got preclinical different kind of model, the concept of designing preclinical study, and then after that how to generate these data and analyze these data. And these are supplemented by practical also. So in the practical also they are actually taught. So different technique oriented things also we teach them. As I told you in my biomarker research, so in translational medicine also we tell them about that how they can do discovery of the new biomarker. So that is a part of the course. And after that, in the second semester, we focus on the ethical issues, the regulatory issues, and how to actually design particularly clinical trial for particular thing. They may not be actually doing the clinical trial themselves, but if they are innovator or they are employed in the industry where the certain product needs clinical trial, so they can definitely become a help for that. And then we also train them in translational medicine, the last part, in the different the regulatory issues which is needed. And the regulatory issues also we actually refer to the current regulatory compliance which you need for different kind of product. And the last part of that course, we tell them that suppose you don't want to work with an industry, you yourselves want to develop a startup, then how to set up the startup, and what are the funding agency and other government agency which will help you to develop the startup, and what is the meaning of entrepreneurship, and how you can also become an entrepreneur. So that is also inbuilt in the course. So that means translational medicine is through and through, and it make you capable to really plan something, not only just to do research, but a research outcome can be utilized for developing an intervention or a product for industry, including regulatory clearance.
Right.
So that is the course design of the translational medicine.
Right.
Now, next is that course for the cell therapy.
Mhm.
Now, as you know that in a particularly cell therapy area, understanding of the cell biology is very important. Like some person may come from the allied course where there may be deficiency of understanding about cell biology. Then cell biology and molecular biology, these are very important component of the cell therapy. First, they have to understand that. And once they understand that, then it will be easy for them that how they can expand these cells, modify these cells, and even the stem cell, the particularly stem cell technology associated, the requirement, everything they are taught in that. And then in addition to that, advanced areas like how they can do the gene substitution. So there we have in the course a viral vector, non-viral vectors, and how these vectors function, choosing the different kind of vectors, efficiency determination of these cell-based therapy.
Right.
So that means, and in fact, including their storage and how then can be transported. So all those details are taught, and including when they are applied to a particular patient, what kind of the possible reaction we expect, and what are the modalities we can actually take so that the side reaction or off target reaction is low.
Right.
So those that is inbuilt in the cell therapy. That means a person trained in the cell therapy course will be easily employed in this different stem cell industry, cell based therapy industry, including vaccine, then antibody conjugated drug, and including some of these areas where they need regulatory clearance. So in those areas they can be employed easily. Last course, which is the advanced molecular clinical molecular diagnostics. I think many of you know the people who have say cancer, say for example breast cancer, they are ordered to do the lot of the genetic the sequencing based test before they are treatment can be done. Now when we actually order these different kind of sequencing, so there are large number of techniques which are used. Now currently there are many labs or many hospitals have got these sequencing instruments or infrastructure. So they look for people who can utilize and perform the test, including analyze the result. So obviously in this course we are in fact introducing all those concepts, but we also have a basic training on the cell and molecular biology. Otherwise they will not be understanding that what is the gene function and what is the functional genomics. Like not only a defect in gene will cause a disease, a defect in gene has to have is translated and transcripted and translated. That means the mRNA level and then protein level. So those kind of the algorithm also is a part of the training, so that at the end of this course they will be very very fit to work not only in the research area but also these advanced laboratory. They can help them to run the test and and then analyze the data, and that is the part of this course curriculum of this.
Yeah.
And their practical part, obviously, they will be doing all these things in their hand.
All right. Hopefully, we have tried to focus more on student-centric questions, which commonly BSc level students might have, to understand better what courses we have and how this will be catered to specific needs. Because nowadays, it's not just theoretical courses like a general biotechnology banner courses, but more like specific healthcare, so that students can decide courses based on their unique needs. Right. So with that, that's a wrap, students. Hopefully, we've answered a lot of your questions and we've given you some basic understanding about the MSc courses that are being launched in this year. And not just that, we've hopefully given you some idea about our ARCD profile. Do tune into our second episode of BioCharcha at ARCD with me. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to write it in our comment section. And with that, thank you so much.